All right. Congratulations on sending your first week of cold emails. This is a very big accomplishment, and you should be very proud of yourself for having made it. By now, you will have sent somewhere around 2,000 cold emails, assuming that you took my initial recommendation of 9 mailboxes. If you did like 6 mailboxes, it'll be somewhere around like 1,400. If you did 3 mailboxes, it'll probably be somewhere around 700 or so. And if you did more, it'll be more. So, however many cold emails that is, after sending it for a full week, waiting for responses to get in and that sort of thing, we're now reaching the point of statistical significance. We're now reaching the point where you can actually start making like data-driven decisions that are meaningful based off of this information. So, whether or not you've landed any calls from this yet, the retrospective is designed to help you understand what's working, identify what isn't, and ultimately just improve the ability, like your own ability to consistently progress. Now, what we're going to do in this retrospective, because it's our first cold email one, I'm going to explain all this in detail, is we're going to focus on evaluating the cold email replies that you've received thus far. Cold outreach is nuanced, as we know. It's not just about hitting send, but it's about nailing the messaging. It's about nailing the niche. And all of this depends based off who you're targeting and what you're offering. Since you will have 6 sequences total, remember we'll have written a full 6. This exercise will also let you identify the highest performing sequence, and then you're just going to turn off the old one. And then tomorrow, what you're going to do is write a new sequence that you'll then split test against that winner. And that way, you'll just be iterating on the copy. You'll be learning what works for your niche. You'll also just be like, every email that you send out will be slightly better bang for your buck, since the reply rates and the deliverabilities and all that stuff are going to go up. Now, in order to structure this, what I want you to do is look at the inbox in which you received the replies for the cold email campaigns. Additionally, if you have like analytics, if you have the open rates and the reply rates and the call booking rates and stuff like that, if you've been tracking all that, that'll help as well. What I want you to do is to read through every reply. And when I say every reply, I literally mean every reply. If you've gotten 2,000 emails and you have a response rate of 1% or something like that, that'll be pretty simple. Just be like, 20 emails or so. Response rate of 1% might actually be reasonable if this is your first time doing this. You don't really know how to copywrite. You don't really understand the messaging. If maybe you're a little bit more experienced, your response rates are around like 4 or 5%, then that'll be closer to 100. So you're going to be sitting down and doing a little bit of fine literature. But what I want you to do is read through every single one, even if it's out of office. And then for every single reply, ask yourself the following questions. Number 1, are there any spelling or grammatical or other egregious mistakes that are impacting your credibility? Minor problems with your spelling, minor problems with your grammar, unless they're done very intelligently, like on purpose, like I do when I lowercase my subject line, for instance, they can really screw with reply rates. I know it might seem like it's just one little character or something, but they can really screw with it. Because at the back of people's minds, they're going to think, well, shit, if this guy can't even figure out how to send me a properly written email, how the hell is he going to build me a system? Especially for automation, which is so detail-oriented. The second, ask yourself, what email is this in response to? Is it in response to your first email in the sequence, the second email in the sequence, the third email in the sequence, the nth? That just means like the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. If the original email is buried in the reply, which sometimes it will be, you can actually just scroll down to the bottom of the email, and sometimes you'll see like these little right arrow symbols with the quoted reply. Then read that one from start to finish and just see if there are any issues you haven't considered, maybe with the variables being filled out or something like that. The next thing to ask yourself is, how clear was your value prop in the email that they responded to? Could your offer be better? Do you think that your writing is as tight as you thought it was when you first wrote it? Like, you now have a whole week of experience here, right? You can actually start saying things like, that first one that I wrote there, now that I understand a little bit more about how emails are written and how people respond to them, I should probably change up the way that my offer is worded. You can now do that. You couldn't do that before because you didn't know what the hell you were doing in all likelihood, unless you send a ton of cold emails, but you can now. Next, what was your overall response rate? So count up the number of emails that you sent to new people, so the number of leads that you contacted, and then count up how many of those emails were opened, if you have that data. Then if not, how many of those emails were replied to. So if I sent to 600 people or something, which is probably reasonable for most of you if you're at the 9 mailbox number, then I don't know, I received 20 replies. Just do the math. 600 or 20 divided by 600 is 0.05 basically, which is 5%. Then from there, I want you to figure out your positive reply rate. Now, of the previous emails, define your positive as any email that expresses interest in your offer or asks for a reply. So let's say you got 20 replies, or I guess I wrote 30 here, so let's just go with 30. If you got 30 replies and 6 of those were, actually, I just realized that my numbers were fucked up back there. 20 out of 600 would be 3%, not 5%. 30 out of 600 would be 5%. So let's pretend that we have a reply rate of 5%, and then we got 30 replies, right? So let's say out of those 30, 8 of those were positive. What that means is, if you just do the math, 8 divided by 30 is 26. So you have 26% basically of your total reply rate, which is 5%, is now your positive reply, which is going to be somewhere around like 1.25%. The positive reply rate is interesting because the reply rate and in and of itself doesn't tell you everything. But if you combine it with the positive reply rate, you now have like a good metric by which you could base your iterations on. Now, based on all those observations above, what tweaks should you make? Are you happy with the positive reply rate? Positive reply rate of like 1 to 2% is actually really good. That means if you send it 100 emails, you're basically gonna have a call, which is pretty sweet. But anyway, do the math and then ask yourself what tweaks you should make, whether you should be more direct in the subject line, maybe less formal in the body, maybe your copywriting could be a little bit tighter, grammar, that sort of thing. Like you've done up until now, create a list of actionables that you can then proceed the next time that you write a cold email. And then once you're done, record these insights and any action steps in that Google Doc or whatever note-taking tool you have, and then share the findings in a school post. Nice work on that retrospective, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you've come up with. Best of luck.